What is up, everyone? Welcome back. Thank you for stopping in. If you are new here to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. When you do, ring that little bell that will notify you of when I upload any new videos or when I go live. Before you head out, hit the thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it when you do. It also helps get the video circulated. And if you have time, leave me a comment down below. I always look forward to all the comments. Today, it's going to be just a quick one. I wanted to do just some basic uh, maintenance, and not really maintenance even. It's a pocket clip exchange and just some routine maintenance without taking the knife apart. Uh, I figure there are people who more than likely would like to clean their knife but not take it apart. Now, it's not going to be foolproof. If you have something in your bearings or something underneath the bearings, uh, there's a good chance that this method will not work with that. It's possible with oil leaking down through the pivot, it could pull that debris out. I've seen it many times, but I've also seen where it doesn't work either. So we'll start off with, I'm going to do just a basic change. I am selling the Spyderco Para 3 in M390 right now, or it's up for sale. I don't know that it will sell. It might. I think it's a good deal. 180 for a all but brand new Para 3 and M390. The standard satin pocket clip will go back on this guy, but I figured since this is up for sale, I would go ahead and try this guy on here. Now, it'll be just one small accent since it's all blacked out. I just kind of wanted to see what it will look like. I do have a black Lynch clip, uh, but I have that on my blacked out Tanto PM2. So if I have to, I'll get another one if I don't end up liking it. But nonetheless, this is just a standard uh, pocket clip switch on a Spyderco. Very simple. You'll need a driver and the right size bit. In this case, it's a T6. I am using a Good Screw screwdriver, which can be found at goodscrew.com. There's a link for their website down below in the description. And then also I use the Stanley Stubby. It houses bits in the bottom. You can fit 6 in there, plus 1 in the chamber. So 7 bits on this guy. And then I keep typically a T6 in here. This is also ratcheting, which does come in handy before you really get into ratcheting on a small pivot, though, or a small piece of hardware. I recommend really figuring out the right way to use it, because if you have a really tight screw or pivot and you go to use the ratchet and you are not seated properly or anything like that, there's a good chance you will strip that screw. So just be very weary and careful of that. So we'll use the T6 and we will just unscrew. There's 3 T6 screws holding in the standard pocket clip here on pretty much, yeah, all Spydercos that don't have a wire clip will pretty much have this standard clip, which, all things considered, it's not a bad clip. If they just did something similar to this here, loop this over top of these holes, I don't know that it would be really that hard for Spyderco to do that. I think they're kind of stuck in their ways, but it would be a very simple design change. Now, I have no problem with them continuing to do it because I love Lynch Northwest. I love MXG gear, so I have no problem with it. But it just would make sense for Spyderco to do that. But it is what it is. So I'm opting to use the same screws that came with that clip. It'll be the black screws. Uh, I just wanted to see if a little bit of accent would, if I would like that, or if I just want to keep it blacked out. You'll have to let me know down below what you think. I think it looks pretty sweet so far, actually. I wasn't sure if I would like it or not. Nothing can ever be easy. So you will take the old pocket clip off, place the new one on there. I recommend getting one through as you go to put the clip on, as you saw me do. Sometimes this can be kind of a pain. Another way is to kind of put the knife on top of the screw. That doesn't always work. And then I recommend loosening it till you hear a click, and then you'll know it should be seated properly. So there we go. I think that looks pretty good, actually. This is the Crewwear Para 3, which is one of the reasons why I'm getting rid of this guy. And I also have a Maximet Para 3. So if you're wondering why I'm selling that other Para 3, it's because I just don't need it. I wanted to kind of experience all of Spyderco's steels and whatnot. And I ended up getting a Manix 2 in M390. So I just figured I just really don't need this. Now, if it doesn't sell, not a big deal to me at all. So I love that knife. I just figured since it doesn't get much or any pocket time, I figured sell it to someone who needs some M390 or needs a Para 3. 180 for that is a good deal. I could put it on eBay for 220, 240. So I think that's a good deal. It is an exclusive that they're hard to get. Not quite as hard as their sprint run style knives, but nonetheless they are hard to get. But this is a Knife Center exclusive, I believe. It's got the smooth G10. Very well done. This is more of the rough texture G10, which is good too. But this is just really cool. Now, you'd think it might be slippery, but it kind of is, but it doesn't affect your grip whatsoever. So that's really cool. So we'll move that guy out of the way. This mat, that's the other thing I was going to talk about. This mat is awesome. For under 20 bucks, you have a nice skinny divider over here, about an inch and a half or whatever. And then you got this nice big pocket up here for whatever, throwing a screwdriver, throwing the knife in, whatever. Another nice big corner pocket here for whatever else. And then you have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 magnet spots for your hardware and whatnot. Now, it won't work for titanium, obviously. Titanium is not magnetic. But it will house all of your metal. And then you have a nice big area here to work in, almost a foot long. So I really like this for 20 bucks. You really can't beat it, especially having the features of a couple pockets and the magnets. I think it's a thumbs up so far. I even burn it with some ferrocerium and came through just fine. Uh, it did take several days. They roll them up and put them in this tube. It did take a few days to get it flattened out. It's still just a smidge lifting up on the magnetic side. Those kind of keep it pushed up, but I give it a thumbs up. I'm still on the hunt for another topper, to the point where I'm not always using this, or I'm not always using my original mat. These mats in particular can be found on Amazon. They have a bunch of different colors, under 20 bucks. So if you're looking for a cheap breakdown mat for your knives or your other EDC gear, or even your pistols, this is a nice little mat for all of that stuff. That is what my original mat is. It's a gun cleaning mat, but it just works perfect. It looks cool. It gives that dark background, so pretty much everything will show up except even your really dark knives will show up. Some people didn't like it, but I'll use it once in a while, but it's not a huge deal. But I am looking for another topper, maybe one that's like a whitish or a very light color, so that way stuff will show up a lot better. So we'll just see where that takes us. But for now, I'm going to deck this out with my favorite companies, my favorite designers, whatever, my favorite YouTube channels. And then we'll just use this once in a while. I'm not going to plan on using this every tabletop video. I'm going to eventually switch it. But we do have the Parrot 3, and I'll just pull this out, the Raptor V2 DLT exclusive, for some maintenance without taking the knife apart. All right, I'll show you what I do, and then you can just tell me what you think. But I will typically take a microfiber cloth, technically, or try to get like a thinner one, no bigger than like this Civivi cloth you see here, and I will run this through here, and try to pull any gunk or grime or dust or whatever. See, this is like if I carry a knife for a couple days, this is what I'll do. That way, before I put it back in the case, it's at least somewhat cleaned up. Now, it isn't cleaned up, taken apart, that sense, but it's pretty clean. The other thing, aside from the cloth, is something I highly, highly recommend. Some sort of horsehair brush. These are perfect for getting in between scales, beside like the blade where it runs down into the pivot. Very nice for just, it's almost like you're dusting the knife. And this makes quick work of quite a bit of stuff. The other thing that I will do, so that takes care of the inside of your scales. Look over the body of the knife. If that needs wiped down, wipe it down. One of the main things I've been using and will continue to use is the KPL knife shield. Now, I was spraying it directly on the spots, but it actually goes quite a long ways. One spray on your microfiber, and you can wipe down this whole thing with one spray, and blade and scales, and you'll be able to have another knife ready, because you'll be able to wipe down at least one more. So I'll take that and wipe down the whole thing. Make sure you get every little spot on the knife. It'll shine it right up, clean it up. Make sure your hands are clean. or you're just gonna get it smudged right back up. This is kind of if you just carried it for several days and you're putting it away, or you're just looking to get it cleaned up and back in the pocket. It works good either way. So there you have it. The inside of this is clean. The blade and the handle is nice and clean. Now what I will do is I will take some KPL. You can take, I tend to use the original. I do have the lightweight and I do have the heavyweight, but I'm using this one up, so it doesn't much matter to me. But I'll take this and I'll take one tiny little drop and I'll put it on the ceramic ball in there, or whatever ball you have. You take that, work that in, and then another thing I will do is I will take it and I will put like a drop right down in either side the track or right on the bearing casing. And then once you do that, give it a few flicks and whatnot. Take your microfiber cloth and make sure the top is cleaned up. Typically, I will take the microfiber cloth, clean up the top nice and good, and then I will take the horsehair brush and just make sure I get everything out of there. Now, you're gonna have a clean knife, with the exception of something being in between your pivot screw and your bearing on your blade. If you have that case, like if you can feel grittiness, and you've doused it with some oil a few times and it hasn't, like I've done where I'll put some in there and I'll kind of leave the knife like this leaned up and it'll run out, and I've seen gunk and stuff come out like that, so you can try that. But inevitably, if it gets too bad, you will have to take it apart. But hopefully that helps somebody who's new, who wants to, or not even new, but really never taken a knife apart, and they were looking to just kind of get their knife cleaned up with a few simple things. You can really spiff your knife up. I have a link to the KPL website where you can get all your care stuff. Link for this. This isn't linked, but I will start linking it. And then, microfiber cloth. Try to get a decent one. This Civivi one, their Civivi ones work really well and they're a good size. You can always go with like a handmade one. I have several handmade hanks. This one comes from one of my favorite hank makers, Issuing Stitches. He is on Etsy. Awesome hanks, awesome quality, just very well done. Very nice materials. One of the first hanks I ever got was from Issuing Stitches. He is a Pennsylvania native like me, so he lives in Pennsylvania, and he just does awesome work. So if you are in the market for a hank, go over to Etsy and check out Issuing Stitches in the Etsy shop. I will start leaving a link for Issuing Stitches as well, to his Etsy shop. But so with a few simple things, you can pick these up at Advanced Auto. You can get them on Amazon. If I remember, I'll link these also, but you can usually get them either individually or in like a 5-pack. You could even go with, they have some skinnier ones, so that's up to you. But you do end up with a nice, clean, ready to be put away or ready to be carried again knife. Very nice. It works well. It's worked well for me for the last couple of years that I've been doing it. You know, that's like a weekly type thing that you can do. Now, if you're really nuts about keeping things clean, which I'm pretty anal about it, and I don't take mine all apart every week because that would be a full-time job for me anyway. But I do like to keep my stuff clean, and if it does need taken apart, I will take it apart. But that's just some nice routine maintenance, pocket clip change, getting your knife all cleaned up. Works very well. Let me know what you think. What do you think about the Spyderco and the gold clip? I think I'm gonna leave it for now. But if you're still here, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Leave me a thumbs up, post a comment down below, and if you're still here and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell, and select all. That will notify you of when I upload a new video or when I go live, like on Mondays and Saturday mornings. Thank you guys. Have a good night, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.